This is a split call on behalf of the Green Party. I call Jan Logie.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I'm pleased to follow on from that piffle. As I listened to the Prime Minister's statement to this Parliament earlier in the week, I must say, unlike others who seem to be in awe, I personally was left bored and frustrated by the cheap barracking and the smoke and mirrors. It's not like we don't have major social, environmental and economic challenges in front of us as a country. You know, half of the population did not get a pay rise last year. The 20% increase in the number of people who are underemployed in just 2 years. 305,000 children living in poverty in this country, and our emissions going up while we watch the cyclones approach. In all of John Key's many speeches over the last 8 years, he's only mentioned poverty 15 times. And even then, it's been mostly to deny its existence. And he happens to have mentioned rugby 21 times. And despite our pressing global challenges, the Prime Minister has never mentioned climate change in a State of Nation speech. John Key seems incapable of naming our challenges or accepting that we can do something about them. He seems so tied up with what's in front of him and his mates that he's missing the bigger picture. And this is so evident when you look at the government's better public service targets. These are their main goals for what they want to achieve in government. And the number one goal is reducing long-term welfare dependence, specifically to reduce the number of people getting income support by 25% by 2018. 75,000 fewer people getting income support within this parliamentary term. You know, and I really want to examine that a little bit, because I can understand some people will think that's ambitious and that's a really good thing. But is that really the most important goal for this country? Is it more important than reducing poverty? Is getting someone off income support without any concern to whether they've got a job or whether they're well or whether they're safe more important? The most important thing in our country? Is that the extent of our ambition? But put aside for a second the poverty of the goal, and let's consider how the government's doing on its number one goal. So the only real kind of at all relevant material I heard in the speech in relation to that goal was the government saying that they've they've created an extra 160,000 jobs over the past 3 years. And that Treasury expects another 195,000 by 2020, which actually, if you analyse those numbers, shows us that the job creation rate is slowing, and they're telling us that's a good thing. And these are the figures that John Key promoted in his speech. So we're all expected to think, okay, well, surely there's more jobs, so these beneficiaries are going to be able to get off welfare and into work. If they need the work, great. But last year, the same government granted almost 186,000 work visas. Admittedly, that includes visa renewals, but the majority of these visas, 120,000 of them, didn't cite an occupation and are likely to be low-wage jobs. So even allowing for visa renewals, this is obviously more visa work permits than the number of jobs created. So while saying getting people off income support is their number one goal, they've actually made it harder for New Zealanders to get off income support and get into work. They've effectively flooded the market with low-wage workers. And when I asked the CEO of MSD about how they were tracking on this target of 25%, well, it was 2.8% last year, and he said, oh, well, actually, you know, it's more of an aspirational target. He's not even expecting to achieve it. This is the government's #1 goal, and the CEO has given up on it, and no wonder, when the government's other policies directly conflict with the doing this and the achievement of it. And what it's left us with is a stigmatised group of people who have been subjected to some of the harshest, most intrusive welfare reforms that this country has ever seen. It's time the government focused on our welfare.
Your time has expired.